In this video we will be looking at the various settings available when displaying a scene in the 3D viewport. Most of the options available are in the group of icons on the right side of the heading area. The first of these icons is the Object Types Visibility settings. We saw in a previous video that we can use the outliner editor to hide or display specific objects or collections. But using this new set of options we can hide a whole class of objects with a single click. For example, by clicking on the eye icon to the right of the term mesh, every single mesh in our scene will be hidden. Clicking the eye for a second time will restore the visibility of the meshes. There are other entries in the list for lights and cameras, allowing us to hide all items of those types. Although there are many other names in this list, none of the others have any meaning to us at this point. To the left of the eye icon is an arrow icon. If we click on this, the specified group of items become unselectable within the 3D viewport. The second icon in the heading group controls the visibility of the gizmos and other various items in the viewport. The only one with meaning for us at this point is Navigate, which, when unchecked, hides the navigation gizmo. Notice that the icon itself has a blue background indicating that it is in the on state. If we click on the icon, it switches off and all the elements referred to within its panel become invisible irrespective of their setting within the panel. Here we can see that the navigation gizmo becomes hidden. The third icon controls the visibility of viewport overlays. That is, items that appear in the 3D viewport but are not part of the scene. Grid controls the visibility of the grid that appears when we are in a named viewpoint such as front. Floor controls the floor grid that appears when we are in a user viewpoint. The axis buttons determine which of the world axes are visible. Notice that when all three axes are marked as visible we will still see only two axes when in a named viewpoint, since one axis will be pointing straight out of the screen and is therefore invisible. For example, here in front view, the y-axis cannot be seen. Scale is a multiplier for the floor and grid distance between lines. Subdivision currently appears to have no effect. Text info, when unchecked, hides the descriptive text in the top left of the 3D viewport. 3D cursor controls the visibility of the 3D cursor. Statistics, if checked, adds more lines of text detailing the objects, the number of objects selected, and the number of vertices, edges and faces in the scene. It also specifies the number of triangles. This last option is useful when developing 3D objects for games where all faces are converted to triangles. For example, here the cube is selected, and it is one of the 7 objects in our scene, and consists of 8 vertices, 12 edges, 6 faces and 12 triangles. Each face being taken as 2 triangles. When we enter edit mode, the text changes to give details of the selected object only, in this case, the cube, telling us how many of the vertices, edges and faces are currently selected. Annotations are elements drawn onto the scene using the Annotate tool. We'll talk about this in a later video. Extras are elements in the scene which will not appear in the final render. For the moment that means the camera and the light. Uncheck the box to hide those items. Skipping over the next few options for the moment, we come to Outline selected. When unchecked, the selected object will not have its usual orange outline. Origins, when unchecked, the orange dot representing the origin of the selected object is hidden. Origins, all, when checked, will show the origins of every object in the scene, even those that are not currently selected. The origin of an unselected object is shown as a white circle. Under the heading Geometry, checking in the box beside Wireframe will show the edges of all meshes. Reducing the wireframe value hides edges which are shared between faces at lower angles to each other. The second value adjusts the opacity of the edges. Jumping to face orientation. When this option is selected, front faces are shaded in blue and back faces in red. Here we can see the back faces where part of the torus has been removed. With the torus selected, we'll press the Tab key to enter Edit mode. Notice that a new entry is added to the Overlay Visibility panel. This is named Fade in Active Geometry, and we can use the associated value to fade out unselected items. Also, looking at the original row of icons, we can see that a new one has been added. This is called the Mesh Edit Mode Viewport Overlays Visibility icon and, as the name suggests, is only present when we are in edit mode. For now, we'll only look at the Normals entry in the drop-down panel. Normals gives us the ability to make the normals of our selected mesh visible. We can show the face normals, vertex normals and the average of the vertex normals where several normals share the same vertex. We can also adjust the length of the normal lines as shown on the screen. Notice that the different types of normals are color-coded. Like the previous icon, we can hide the complete set of items listed in the Viewport Overlays Visibility panel by clicking on the icon itself. But notice that this also disables the Mesh Edit Mode icon. The fourth icon toggles X-ray mode. This is most useful when we are working in edit mode since it allows us to see and access vertices, edges, and faces that would normally be hidden when looking from our current viewpoint. Here's a quick look at the PDF pages that are available for this video. As usual, you can download them from our website. Just click on the Blender button on the home page and click on the entry for Video 007.